Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge. Alright you guys, today I'm bringing you a video that I haven't done before, so you'll have to tell me if you like this format, if it works. It's kind of a thing that would usually be done in probably like a TikTok or a short or something, or a reel on Instagram, but I don't like to speak quickly or for only a minute at a time about certain things like that, and I wanted to come up with a way to talk about all of the new to me authors that I read that I could go through like kind of fast, but not. Anyway, you'll have to tell me. So if you can tell by the title, I'm going to do this as a smash or pass format for every single new to me author that I read so far this year. So if you saw my recent video that was hidden gems, that is kind of where I was like going with this one. But with hidden gems, it isn't just new to me authors that I did it with. It was books that had under 500 ratings that I wanted people to try. So this is going to be all new to me authors, and you know, I have shared that for this year, that is one of my goals, to read as many new to me authors that I can, particularly debut authors, or I don't like using struggling authors as the term, but you know what I mean, like authors who aren't getting a lot of traction. That is something that I want to use my platform for, as it were, is to give these people some attention, as it were, to point people towards them. So what I'm gonna do though is I'm actually keeping track of this in my journal that I have, and I have, as of today, 43 authors that were new to me this year, which is awesome. For some of these authors, I have the books here because they're ones that were sent to me, or I mean, I liked the book so much that I bought it. So if I have a book by that author, I will hold it up. If I don't, you know, of course, I'll just put a picture up. And the ones that I pass on, I'll maybe just say like one or two words why it didn't work for me. And I also will have a maybe category as well. So it'll be smash, pass, or maybe. And maybe means I would give them a second chance. And pass, like there's not going to be a ton of them that are a hard pass, but sometimes you just get a vibe for an author that you're like, I wouldn't want to read another book like this at all, and I'm not going to, you know. So there will be some of those, and because I don't like to really rag on anyone, and again, because these are new to me authors and some of them are smaller authors, I'm not here to drag them down either, but I'll try to say a couple things about them, because even if they're a pass for me, maybe they'll be a smash for you, and that is what I want to leave opportunity for too. If I remember to as well, I will leave a link to either their like Amazon profile or the book that I'm specifically talking about. And as always, affiliate links help out the channel, but it's just also a way to help you get right to them. So let's go ahead and get started. That is enough on the upfront. So I do have my computer here for this one because I have my list in the notebook, but the name of the book and like my thoughts on it are over here. So starting right off with Anya Summers, which I actually do have this one, and this was actually sent to me, an autographed copy of it, and this book was a big hard pass for me. So I actually read this, I believe, for my first books of the year vlog that I did, and this one, again, because it's a pass, I won't go into all the details, but basically the reasons I didn't like it was actually having to do with, this has a trigger warning for unaliving yourself, and the reasons for the character who unalived himself, I thought were pretty disrespectful to veterans and those who struggle with PTSD. That's my personal opinion. I'm very sensitive about those, and so it was a big pass for me. This whole series is called Seals on Wheels, and it's about these men who were in the same, you know, team, and one of the men unalived themselves, and they are going from woman to woman in this guy's life, and each of them falls for one of these women in his life, and I don't know, it just felt weird that the only way these men were all getting their HEAs is because their friend unalived themselves, and he had been kind of like a man whore before. And I don't know, the concept did not vibe for me at all. And I don't know if was enough from Anya Summers to make me like want to read it. If someone writes that kind of a story and we so like fundamentally disagree on something like that, I just don't know that I would. So that one was a pass for me. Then I read Amelia Kingston. This one I had an audio of, and it was a like college, I believe it's football romance. This one would be a maybe. I believe the audiobook was with Audible Plus, and it was just okay. It was a virgin romance, and so this one's a maybe. I maybe would read another one from this author. All right, then we have R. Collins, and I do have that one here. She so kindly sent me a early copy of her debut novel, and I really, really wanted to like this one. This is a POC author. She is doing kink and like BDSM in the relationship. It's also a secret society, and I think a lot of people will like that. The type of secret society that this one was just wasn't for me. However, it is a pass on this series because the whole series is about the same couple and they're together from the beginning. So I don't understand where it's going to go. Granted, you know, I only read this one. But she just announced that once this series is finished, she's going to be writing a dark cowboy romance. So while I wouldn't call this author a smash for me, she's not 100% a pass. So this one's a maybe. But yeah, definitely check this author out. She, I think, has the 3rd or 4th book is coming out in this series. And yeah, it's her debut series. That's really cool. I just didn't like vibe with this one particularly. All right, then there is Davidson King. This author was actually, a bunch of theirs was actually sent to me by Daniela, one of my patrons and friends, for a Christmas gift, I think is when it was sent. And this was a new to me author. A lot of this author's books are in Audible Plus as well as on AnyPlay, and that's how I listened to this one. So this is an mafia series. So this one was kind of directly mafia because one of the heroes is a like crime boss, but then like I've read another one in this series so far, and that one was more like tangentially related to the mafia. So I would give this one a smash because I've read more since then and I would continue to. They're, while having a dark subject matter for this author, they have very cozy relationships. And I tend to like that. I like if we're in the midst of darkness to have this very sweet, almost wholesome relationship that's going on within it. I loved. The other book I read by this author recently was in the Mafia Romance Readathon, and it was a professional like hugger was one of the heroes. So yeah, I would say a smash for Davidson King. I would read. Where was Irish, and I actually started with an audiobook with this one, and this one was with it was one of the first books I actually got from the author agency, which I now absolutely love working with them. They have some great, I found so many new authors through the author agency. So Brittany Nicole, this was my first one from her. This was a mafia romance. The audiobook was very good. And I've since read some of her hockey romance. So definitely a smash for Brittany Nicole. The other one I just recently read was A Major Puck Up. And that was an age gap, dad's best friend. Loved. I will definitely read more Brittany Nicole. Then there was Swati MH. And this one was actually recommended by a viewer at some point. And I have read more of Swati MH, and I'm a little undecided. Adrift was a dead sister's husband type romance, and that heroine becomes like a nanny for him. And it was just okay. And then I read Adrift, and then I read Abyss, and that one was also just okay with me. So I don't know. But I was intrigued by it. This is also I believe this is a Indian author, like Swati MH. And the second one I read was actually an interracial relationship, which was cool. Yeah. So I don't know. This one's a maybe. I might try another one from this author, but I'm not sure. Okay, then there was Alice Coldbreath, and this was an author that had been on my radar for ages, and one of my viewers so kindly sent me this whole trilogy the Victorian Prizefighter series, and this author is definitely a smash. I have some of her Omegaverse like waiting for me to read. So some of hers are on Anyplay, and then so are some of her Omegaverse. So like I have Love Potion for the Alpha waiting for me as well. So definitely a smash for this author. But this one was really cool, really unique stories. The heroes are prize fighters or even kind of like circus type performers is some of them. So this was really cool, very unique, and I really enjoyed it. I liked the second book I read even more than the first one. There was Michelle Gross, and the first book I read by her was 1% of You, an absolute smash. I have been thinking about this book ever since I read it. It's a single mom who's also pregnant with her second child. She's very young. She was in a toxic relationship, and she leaves her boyfriend, and he still has quite a hold on her with having shared custody of their kids and everything. And his parents are very abusive to her. And she has this grumpy next door neighbor who gets off on the wrong foot with her and her daughter, who is the child that's born so far. And they just have this crazy relationship. So absolutely a smash. I haven't read anything else by her yet, but I absolutely will. This book, it wasn't a 6-star read, but it's in like my top of the 5 stars I've had. I really loved this book. All right, then I tried S. Massery. These are all still January books. I read a lot of these. So I don't think I started with Brutal Obsession, but I grabbed one off my shelf. So this is a dark hockey romance, and like really dark. Like there is lots of illegal things, lots of kinks, so many kinks. Like if you love somnophilia, if you like stalking, knife play, hand necklaces, like it's all in here. These have been great fuel for my kinky videos. So this author is a smash, but also her books do disturb me quite a lot, but yet I can't help myself and I keep reading them because I love it dark and twisty, you know? All right, then I also tried... Katerina Mara for the first time, and it wasn't this book, it was The Wrong Bride, but I actually read this one for Patreon, and I think the author's a pass for me as of now. I do own, obviously, like I have this one and I have another one, but I don't know, I have not felt any desire or excitement to read another one of her books. I don't know. So maybe it's a maybe, but if I had to like choose right now, I would just pass on reading more of hers, because from what I've seen of people who've read more, it's all kind of the same. So I don't know. Maybe it's a... And I tried Ali Martinez for the first time, and this author writes Fighting for Silence. And that one was amazing. It had a character who was going deaf, I think is what's happening in there. Yes. And some of it, this was kids on the wrong side of the tracks. This boy and this girl, they become best friends, and they're friends like their whole lives, and eventually it turns into more. But the hero is very like hesitant because he doesn't want to burden the heroine with all of his issues and everything. So there's a lot of angst going on, but I would definitely smash this author. I would absolutely read more of her. And I would definitely read more of her for sure. Lex Martin, which actually won this in a giveaway on her Facebook group. It was the first book I ever won on Facebook, which is crazy. So she has this series that is Varsity Dads. So the first one I actually read was the book before this one, which was like book 3 in the series or something. Oh no, it was the 4th one. I read Second Down Darling was the first one. And then Heartbreaker Handoff was this one, and she still has one more in this series coming. So definitely a smash for me. I really like it. All of them are basically college dads. Some of the pregnancies are like with them. This one is actually a not his baby. She had a one-night stand with a different football player, and then we have our lovely hero who kind of steps up. What's his name here? Billy. He kind of steps up and becomes her man, and it's just so sweet. So yeah, this one was a pregnant heroine one, which, you know, I really love. I really love that trope a lot. And yeah, this couple was just They were so sweet, and definitely a smash for Lex Martin. I would read more of hers for sure. Okay, then there was Leon Riley, and I'd had this one saved for ages. This is Healing the Orc's Heart. And I have to say, this one is a pass for me. It did not have what I'm looking for in a monster romance. I didn't care for the hero, our orc, and I just wasn't wowed by it at all, and I have no interest in really reading more either. We'll keep that one quick because, like I said, we need to move along. The next author duo that I tried and is absolutely a smash is Piper Rain / P. Rain. And I was already kind of interested in them because of the... there was a sign up for an audiobook of their new series they were starting, which was The Midnight Manor. And I got an arc of Moonlit Thorns, an ALC of Moonlit Thorns, and I really liked that. And then I got contacted by them to try their new contemporary series they're going to be writing as well. So I've been reading both P. Rain and Piper Rain books since March when I first tried them, and absolutely a smash. I just read Midnight Whispers, which is the third book in that series, the Midnight Manor series that I read, and I really liked that. And they have the next book in their country small town series that's coming soon. So yeah, definitely a smash for that author duo for sure. Then there was Ash Raven, who I completely was won over by the cover. I've talked about this one before. This is Jumping the Shark, and this is an absolute smash. I can't wait to read more of these naughty little, very sweet alien / monster romance. I've talked about this one in a ton of videos, so we won't say more, but literally another Instagrammer just posted this cover, and I instantly was like, I need it right now. And the author happened to be taking ARC requests, and I was like, doing it. I'm doing it. And it was just as sweet and sexy as you might think it is. Like, honestly, it was a daddy dom shark, and plus size heroine, really kinky, really sweet. Adored it so much. All right, I also tried Ava Marks. This one was in my 12 Recs from 12 Friends, and this is a maybe for this author. She writes a lot of taboo and like kinky stuff, so I might try another one of hers. This one was a bit taboo because it's her dad's best friend that she calls uncle, you know, so it's like that. And then there was sex club involved, and it's one of those where like there's literally not anything taboo, but they made it taboo by how they talk and the dirty talk they would give, and I don't know. So this author is maybe a maybe because, again, I do enjoy finding authors who write the type of like kink that I like and the things that I want to suggest on my channel, but I wasn't sold by this one. So yeah, we'll give that one a strong maybe. Okay, then... yay! Then we had Bailey Hannah, which this is absolutely a smash. This author was a debut author to me. Well, I mean, she's a debut author as it is, and I saw this beautiful cover going around. This is what I'm talking about when we have like a non-couple cover that still catches my eye. Like, I just love this. This one was a woman on the run. So we had Cecily Kennedy, who ends up at a cattle ranch, and she ends up needing a job there to get away from her abusive, soon-to-be ex-husband. The owner of the ranch, not too excited to have her there. He doesn't know where she's from or what's going on, so he's very kind of like mistrustful of her. But their romance is really beautiful, how they come together. So I really liked that. And yeah, I've also read Seeing Red, which I didn't care for as much with that one, but I still will absolutely, it's a smash. I'll read more of this author for sure, for sure. All right, then there was MJ Edwards, and this book, y'all, I've talked about this one a ton. This is there really is only one book to talk about. So this author is an absolute smash. This is a male romance author, and he wrote this MMF romance, The Escort's Tale, and I read this one for Patreon. We did MMF for one of the months, and I loved this. It was a 5-star read. It was almost a 6-star read. It was just missing a little bit of that extra oomph I usually like for. But this had one of the heroes was disabled, one of the heroes is an escort, and then it's a married couple who invites this escort in the beginning, to sleep with the wife, because the hero with paraplegia, he cannot like satisfy his wife the way that he wants to. She is satisfied by him. He doesn't feel that it's enough. And this escort gets brought in, and he really kind of changes their lives. And I love this. I did. It's a very simple story, but for it being a shorter book, you know, this one is like not even 200 pages. It's technically a novella length, and it had emotional depth. It had emotional sex and great connection between all three characters. I thought it was smart because even though it's an MMF, when you have a married couple who, let's say, isn't having a bunch of problems, you know, like think of Homewrecker, like there's issues in that marriage that need to be fixed. Like there isn't really issues in this marriage. They just need someone to kind of like show them that they can still have what they want, you know? And so we didn't have to show every single relationship the way I like to see in an MMF, because we already know that one of them is there. So anyway, loved it. This is absolutely a smash. The only problem is this author doesn't write any more books. Like there are no other ones really under this author. There's like one other one, and it's like out of print or something. So it's very, very sad, but it was an absolute smash. I just can't have any more, and it makes me really sad. Okay, so Kat Singleton, and we'll just say this is going to be a pass for me. I read Rewrite Our Story. I've been really looking forward to it. I have a beautiful special edition someone gifted me. I listened to the audio, and this has so many things that frustrate me, and I don't know that I want to try the author again, even for this, because it had flashbacks that I hate. It was a misunderstanding that separates them. It was a big time jump. Like there's just so many things in this one that did not care for. So we're just going to call that one a pass for me. Next, I read Abby Glines, and this is actually a maybe for me, okay? So I read Slay and then Slay King. This was a duet, but it's within a series. Like now there's another like duet that's going to happen in it or whatever. And these are mafia cowboys. Now that gets me very excited, and I was super intrigued. And I gave the first one 4 stars, but the second part of the duet just did not hold up for me. And because I know this is an author who's going to keep like writing kind of like duets and everything, and I just didn't feel like we had enough resolution for this couple. I feel like the heroine got a little bit dick drunk and just kind of let the hero fix things too easily that he shouldn't have. And yeah, I don't know. I wanted more for what this was. So honestly, this author's kind of a maybe. We'll see how I feel later. All right, then there was Ella Dawes with the book To Bleed a Kingdom, and I got this one from Nerd Fam, and again, new to me author. I don't know if this was her debut, I can't recall, but this was a pretty strong start, so I only gave this one a 3.5 star, but I want to continue the series for sure, because it was the start of a fantasy series. There was a lot of ground that had to be covered. There's going to be like fated mates in some aspect. The prologue of this book like had me riveted. So I definitely will read more. I just don't know how I feel as of yet. So we'll have to see. There was Mariah Stone. This author is kind of a maybe. I mean, I will probably listen to more of hers, but I don't have super high expectations. So it's not fully a pass, but I also haven't like loved anything. These are books that I've gotten from Must Love Audio. If you don't know, that's a audio PR company that I've been working with. It works directly with Shane East as well as a couple other narrators who like started this. And so Shane East and I think it's, this one is Shane East and Justine Eyre, who is a pairing that I love whenever they're paired together. And I listen to books, I think these are books like 4 and 5 in a series, because yeah, I listened to Project Duke, and then there was another one as well. And she just kind of does what you expect. You know, like if there's a third act conflict you think is going to happen, that's exactly what happens. And I'm someone who just gets a little bit like itchy from that. Like I want you to surprise me. If there is a conflict that could possibly happen, and that's what happens every time, I just don't love that. Like, I don't feel inspired by that if you give me exactly what I think you're going to. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's how I feel. That's my truth. So she's a maybe. Like, I'm not saying I wouldn't read her more, but we'll see. Then there was Flurry by Allison Rimes. This was one that I had an ebook for. This was an MMF hockey romance. And I would say the author's a smash, because I definitely want to continue with this series. I was sadly like disappointed right at the end of this one. Again, I'm talking more in detail about these than I should. We're only like halfway through this. But this was an MMF. It was clear that the heroes were in love, and we didn't get to see like enough of them together in my mind. Like, I wrote it down. Like, there was so much buildup to them being together, and the fact too that like the men were together before the woman even was. There was not like any stuff in there. We just took for granted that they already liked each other because they were friends beforehand. And for me, you know, as I said about like the escort sale, that was a very short book as well, and I still felt all of the relationships. And this one, it just felt like we were convincing each other that we could be in a relationship together, and then it was over. Like, this book, you know, I don't usually say a book should be longer for story reason. Usually I want it to be longer because I'm just loving it. But this book was 280 pages, and I think it needed another 50. Like, I think it needed another 50 pages. Nothing crazy, but it isn't just about wanting the smut, because I did want there to be some more MMF scenes. Obviously, that's what I'm in this party for. But also, by having those scenes, like, you're showing the intimacy too, and that's what I crave. It's not necessarily the act of the sex itself, though of course that's hot. It's what it's doing, you know? So this author is a smash, but that book was not the best that's happened for Tiffany Patterson, and the book was Trust Me. This author is a smash. I would absolutely read more of her. This author had interracial couples in hers. The audiobook was wonderful. This is a like dark billionaire series, and yeah, I absolutely would read more of this author. So smash for sure. There is Kenna King, and I mean, this author is a smash because I know I'll be getting more of the audios from Must Love Audio, and I really enjoyed Rough Score, which was a marriage of convenience hockey romance, and it was good. However, since that one, I read book 5, which I did not care for. Book 5, it just was not my jam at all. And so the author's still a smash, because an author can have a stumble. It's okay. So I love hockey romance. The audios have been good. All right, then we have, ooh, I forgot to write an author down. There was Walker Rose. I totally forgot to put her down, but she was a new to me author with Bourbon Runaway. You know, I've talked about that one in quite a few videos at this point. This was a runaway bride romance. Really loved it. I'm going to be reading more of her soon, so definitely a smash. I need to stop talking in such detail, so we're going to keep moving. Then there was Forgive Me for My Sins by Angel Anders. I definitely talked about this one in the Hidden Gems video. She had a priest romance. This was her debut book as well. And yeah, definitely enjoyed that one. I was also introduced to Jay Salmon by Must Love Audio. I tell you, Must Love Audio has been great for me, y'all. I am loving them and all of the authors they've introduced me to. It just feels like less of a risk when I have an audio arc to listen to, or an ALC sometimes. So anyway, this was a doctor's romance. It's a start of a like spin-off series for this author. So I definitely do want to go back and read the other books she's written as well. But this book like really gave me like Grey's Anatomy vibes. And I love that it was 2 doctors falling in love. And yeah, really like this author. Absolutely a smash. Will read more. Okay, then there is Peyton Corinne, which of course we know, absolutely a smash. This is her debut book. Got picked up by Atria right away. The next book will be Unloved, and it's not coming till I think March of next year, but I don't care. I love this. This is one of my 6-star reads, so absolutely a smash for Peyton Corinne. You know, I highly, highly, highly recommend her to any and all of y'all. Like, so good. All right. This will shock some people. So Samantha Young was a new to me author this year. She has been recommended many times over the years. Y'all have really wanted me to try her, particularly like on Dublin Street and some of the other books in those series. But this one, again, one that was provided with Must Love Audio. Shane East was narrating a Scottish hero. Say less. I was here. This was a marriage of convenience. This American woman is going to like lose her like status of being able to visit Scotland because they, you know, immigration, rightly so, thinks that she is, you know, established a residency there and she hasn't done things through the proper channel. So she ends up getting married to her sister's husband's brother. I think that's what the setup was. I'm not sure. Either way, or the friends. So he was some friend's brother or whatever. So she ends up marrying him. And it might be his cousin. I think it's her husband's cousin. Because I believe the hero only has a sister, if I'm correct. But whatever. Either way, however it is, she marries a Scottish farmer. And his farm is actually in trouble. So her like trust fund and her money is actually going to like help him, and then she will be able to, once she's married to him for so long, she'll be able to keep her residency, I guess, even if they get divorced. So absolutely a smash. I can't wait for the next one in the series. Is coming soon, and yeah, I'm just big fan, really good book. All right, then the very last one in April was Kate Rivenhall, and this one, y'all, is going to be a big pass for me, and I'm sad that it's a pass because I was really hoping for a nice taboo author. This one has Swinsash in it, and it's a full brother sister, and the one I read was the parolee. He's getting out of jail or prison and immediately is going to find his sister to get her back. And yeah, it isn't that it was the incest, because I knew that that was in the book. You know, I'm okay with going real taboo. I can, but it was how they acted in it, and that's something that is always a struggle for me with the books that are really taboo. Is it's like, is it just written as a little erotica where the kink is the point, or is there any story to it? And to me, they called each other brother and sister whenever they were banging. It was clear that they got off on the fact. Well, at least he did. He got off on the fact that he was her brother fucking his sister. And it just was like, it was too much ick. Like, I don't need it shoved in my face that much. So this author, that's like all that she writes. I respect it. Her books have been banned from Amazon, which it was funny to me because on her page, she acted surprised that she got booted from Amazon. And I was like, bitch, you know you can't advertise that it's a incest and expect to stay on Amazon. So you can buy her books on her website or on Eden Books if you are interested in that. No judgment here. It just wasn't Jen's cup of tea. It didn't work for me. And then I finally tried Laura Pavlov. And honestly, this author's a maybe. The first one I gave 4 stars. But Forbidden King really rubbed me the wrong way. I am so in the minority of that. Everyone just like gushed over that one. But to me, there was no conflict in that book. There shouldn't have been one at all. And so it just made these two unbelievably frustrating, that he was scared to tell his friend. When it's like, your friend loves you, and your friend is going to be more pissed that you didn't tell him you like his sister than if you would just tell him. And like, I knew the whole time that that's what the issue was going to be. And then there was a scene where he's thinking about fucking her so much at a family barbecue that he has to sneak into the bathroom and jack off with so many people at his house. He's so turned on by her just sitting around that he needs to go jack off during it. And it icked me. So I know Laura Pavlov is a big one for everybody, but you know, the first book I read was like, okay. And then this one was just kind of, meh. So I don't know if I'll continue. Hidden Empire, and this author is a smash. It was her debut book. It's a mafia world. It's kind of new adult, like sorta. But I talked about this in a lot. Like, this girl, She discovers that she's the daughter of a mafia boss, and she has 11 older brothers. And there's also a mafia school that they go to. So there's just a lot. Like, this book starts very dark, like when we see the situation she's in, but it actually becomes very sweet. And her relationship with the hero is really very loving and sweet as well. So this book had a lot of problems. It was also very long, but for a debut book, as well as like the world she so ambitiously built, it's a smash. Like, I'm going to read more, because if this was her beginning, which was a little rocky, but if this was her beginning, I will absolutely read more. So definitely a smash for that new to me author. All right, then there was Savage King by Deborah Garland. This was an author that I started for the Mafia readathon, and I'd signed up for an ALC of this book. This was also one from the author agency, and this is a Mafia series. This one was a forced marriage, enemy families, and I liked it a lot. I'm actually supposed to be getting an ALC of kind of the prequel book, and then we're going to be going forward. So I think the first like 5 books in the series are out, but she's just slowly getting the audiobooks done, and I'm probably going to continue with the audiobooks because I really liked the performances of those. So a definite smash for Deborah Garland. Really liked her stuff. All right, then we had Brutal Vows by Darcy McQueen. This is an author who'd been on my shelf for ages. She actually sent me the first 3 books in her Vows and Vendetta series, and I finally read this one for the Mafia Romance Readathon. And this book definitely had its weaknesses, but I liked it so much. This one, also a woman on the run. There was some mafia cowboy vibes going on. There is, you know, an evil ex who's trying to come and get her. There's horses. There's a grumpy, like, bodyguard type character. So there was a lot to love in this one. And so definitely a smash for Darcy McQueen. I really am looking forward to reading the next books in this series for sure. Okay, then there is Alex Grayson. This is another author that is a smash. This is a Tarzan retelling, which is what got me. It's a very dark retelling of it, and I liked it because it was set in modern times. He's kind of a wild man in like the mountain area, and our heroine goes to like photograph him and like get evidence that he exists, and he decides to take her as his mate. And so there is a lot of non-consensual things for a good portion of this book. However, he becomes such a sweet, protective hero, like once they start to communicate and start to like learn each other. Yes, you might call it Stockholm Syndrome and how it happens, maybe, but I liked it. I liked it a lot, and this was the first one I'd read from this author. Obviously, that's what this video is, and it's a smash. I will read more from them as soon as possible. Okay, then there was The Pleasure Protocol, and I'm naming the book instead of the authors, which it is Darcy Romaine and Kat Alexander. I've talked about this book a whole bunch. This is also one of my hidden gems. This book was sent to me, and I got a book box from the 2 of them, and this is actually one where I do have an alert set on my Instagram for when like PR boxes come up, because you know, that is something that I enjoy getting. I like promoting smaller authors who like maybe, you know, need it, and they're looking to get them out to influencers who could talk about them. And every once in a while I win the jackpot. And for this one, I really felt like I did, because this is the type of erotic romance that I just love so, so much. And yeah, it was a billionaire and an escort together. It was spicy. It was kinky, and it was a wonderful time. Just so good. So definitely a smash with these authors, and I can't wait for whatever they write next. Like, it's going to be good. I just know it. It's going to be great. Okay. Down to the last ones here. So there was BJ Alpha. This one was a hard pass. I did not complete this one, and I wanted to put it in here because I needed to like vent my spleen a little bit, and I did when I reviewed this one. The week that I read this one, I was so angry by this book, and like it was sold to me having certain kinks that I like, but the hero was unhinged, and not in a sexy way, in an unhinged way, as the fact that he murders one of his men for like touching the arm of his woman while his son is in the room, his young son, who's like 4 or 5 years old. The heroine is now the nanny for this kid, and one of his men is just talking to her. I don't even know if he touched her. And the hero pulls out his gun and pops the guy in the head in front of his kid. And I immediately DNF'd at that point, because all of the kinks in the world, and yes, this one has a lot, do not make up for that for me. I'm just done. That didn't even know that that needed to be a trigger that I had, but it was. So all the other things in it, this one has like lactation kink in it. It has water sports. It has like spankings, and it has hand necklace. Like, it has all the things, but it had no substance that I was interested in upholding. So we moved right along with that. Then there was Shattered Obsession so Tina Spencer is the author. This author was picked by one of my patrons. I actually annotated this book for them, and I am passing on this author. So a lot of my friends have loved this one. This one is a like stalker. It's a best friend's sister. There's a hidden identity and a sex club, and I don't know. I didn't think the hero was sexy at all. I thought he was creepy in the way that he stalks her. And yeah, it didn't work for me. It didn't work for me. It was trying too hard. And then it was also a cliffhanger. Like, there's another one coming out. It might be out now. I don't know if people read it. And it was a pass. I'm not interested in continuing with that duet. And I didn't like, honestly, either of them. Yeah, it was just, I didn't care for it. All right, then there was Fear and Fortitude by Sherry Champagne. This was another author I read because Must Love Audio offered it, and because it was narrated by Shane East and Zara Hampton Brown, and I would maybe read this author again. It was a very interesting setup for the historical. It had a heroine who was on the run, and she ends up being rescued by the hero and then becomes a nanny to his niece, and he also has a ruined reputation because he was accused of something he didn't do, and so they're both very messed up people keeping secrets from each other. But it was okay. The romance wasn't everything that I would hope for. But again, it wasn't like bad or anything. So that's why it's a maybe. Like, I'm sure Must Love Audio will have more audios of hers in the future, and I would try those. So it's a maybe for sure. Okay, then there is B. Borges, which is a debut author. And this was a small town romance from her, and this was actually a clean romance, and I talked about this in, I believe, my most recent wrap-up, that I had a lot of hope for this, but I also felt like the marketing was a little bit deceptive about what it was, and so I just feel like if the author would be honest that it was a closed-door romance, that I would have went in with better expectations and would have liked it more. And I don't care if that makes me sound like horny or whatever. These days, just in the way that we tell people what trigger warnings are, we tell people whether it's clean or not, you know? I'm sorry, I keep saying clean. It's just what comes to my head. If it's closed door or open door, like, we tell people that. And when especially you have reviewers reading it who are going to tell their audience one way or the other, like, just tell us so that we know, because I, said this in my review of it, and I'll say it again, like, I have audience members who do want to read closed door sometimes, who would be interested if there was a book that was a small town romance, a brother's best friend, and has all those things that they like, but they don't have open door steam in it, and they would be excited about that. So, like, don't lie about it. Be upfront. And because this is a debut author, hopefully she changes that going forward, and we won't have to worry about it. Okay, then we have Megan Montgomery, and I was a big fan of this one for sure. I read The Bones of Love, and this one got me because of the tropes. It said it was a priest and a death doula, as also she's a forensic anthropologist, and this is a marriage of convenience. This was a very slow burn. There's a lot of angst. It did tear my guts out a bit, so I gave this one 4 stars, but it was so unique. I actually picked this before I saw the cover. It just had like this, like, you know, plain thing before, but when I saw the tropes, I was like, I want to try it. Another one from the author agency, like I said, bringing me the authors I've never tried before, and I was a big fan. And these ones, the ones I'm talking about that are new right now, the last few I have, they're all in my most recent wrap-up, so definitely check those out for more details, because I go way into it. Because then there was L.J. Andrews, which I'll hold up. So I haven't actually read The Mist Thief yet, but I was so sweetly actually sent the arc of this one, an early copy of The Mist Thief. So the book that I have read so far is actually The Ever King, and I'm currently reading The Ever Queen. Like, I'm literally 60% into that, hoping to finish it today actually, so that I can start on The Mist Thief, which comes out next week. The Nerd Fam actually sent me this box, and I'm loving it. So I know a lot of people have read L.J. Andrews. She has a series out already that has like 9 books in it, and I didn't know about that series. I just saw the Nerd Fam was offering The Mist Thief, and I've been, like I said, trying new to me authors, and the Nerd Fam does like book boxes sometimes if you get picked. They offer book boxes for almost every book that they offer. They just only pick about like 20 to 50 people depending on for each one. So I've signed up for 15 and I've only been picked for 2. But I do get e-arcs sometimes, which is great. Anyway, that's a side note. So this is a fae world. There is lots of magical beings in it, and I'm so bad at explaining fantasy. Like, I'm just gonna stop and not pretend, but I am really enjoying it. Like, I was listening to The Ever Queen last night while I was cross-stitching, and I was just like, I'm riveted by it. It has really great narrators. I'm actually sad that the narration won't be out for this one when I get to it, but her stories are so good, I'll think I'll be okay. Like, look, there's even pictures in the book. So happy about it. So excited. So, anyway, big fan, absolute smash for L.J. Andrews. Okay, now the very last one we have to talk about for today is Victoria Wilder, who is also an author that I have just been super excited to try this book. She does have, I believe, one other series, but this is a new to me author, and this is one where I saw the cover get shared. This was also, I think, from Must Love Audio. The cover got shared, and I was like, not Must Love Audio, the author agency. And I was like, I need it. I mean, look at that cover. This one had an ex-K9 officer and his dog, Julep, and our heroine, who's actually in the witness protection program, and like, our hero doesn't know that. It's a like bourbon family who has a bourbon company, and he's very distrustful of her, and so it's a slow burn between them. But the way the hero like falls for her by the end, I was here for it, just like so much. And I loved his canine. I loved Julep. She was one of my favorite parts. And I ended up giving this one 5 stars. So a big smash to Victoria Wilder. I'm really looking forward to the next book in the Bourbon Brothers, or Bourbon Boys. I think it's the Bourbon Boys. Absolutely looking forward to more of hers. Okay, so that was just now 43 authors that were new to me this year, which is great. I've read, I believe, about 230 books. So I'm feeling pretty good that that's about, what is that? Like about a fifth of my reading. I'm horrible at math. Or is it about a fourth? I think it's about a fifth of my reading has been new to me authors, because a lot of these authors that I mentioned, I've read more than one of their books at this point, which is great. So we'll see. My goal would be to probably double this by the end of the year. So if I can read 100 new to me authors, that'd be really great. And as you can tell, a good amount of them are smashes or even maybes, you know, which generally means I will try them again. And some of them, you know, have been like absolute like favorite authors to me. And so I love when I do that. I love getting to try new to me authors and then share them with you guys. So as I said, I'll have links to probably the ones that were like smashes for me. And no, I'll maybe put a link to everything. I don't know. We'll see. That's a lot of links to put down there. But if you would like to try out some of these authors, make sure you give them some love and help them be successful if you're interested. So thank you so much for watching, friends. I hope you're having a great summer no matter where you are. And we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.